Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So today we've got volume day. This is going to be our bodybuilding day. This is going to be our day where we can try and get in the volume, build up the fatigue in the muscle. Our primary driver here is to get the volume and get the reps in and try and trigger some hypertrophy. The sort of psychoplasmic hypertrophy, getting that reps, getting that tension in, and sort of just maybe do a few exercises that we wouldn't normally do. Hit the body from an angle we wouldn't normally hit it from, and yeah, have fun with a little bit of training. I'm quite pumped up for today's workout actually. I know in my program I had it down for doing biceps and triceps and hyperextensions and leg raises, and I didn't get around to doing it. Today we're gonna get that done. I wanna try and be a bit more efficient with my timings today, and each time I'm making one of these videos, I'm trying to be a bit more efficient with the video, whether it means changing the angle, getting the sort of bits of equipment set up ready for exercises that are going to be happening. Just trying to make it a bit more efficient if I can. So yeah, so on today's cards, full body, I think it's like, what is it, maybe 10 different exercises. Really get the volume in, kind of breaking them up into supersets today. So first superset is going to be the pull-up with the dip, and if you watch my previous video or a couple of my previous videos, I've talked about how I want to start adding in some resistance bands. And normally when you think of resistance bands when it comes to calisthenics, you always think of, pull-up assisted with the bands to dip assisted with the bands. I want to try and get into where it makes it harder. I've tried the old school, when you used to put the bands across your back, put them in your hands, you do kind of do like the bands to make the push-ups a little bit harder, but I've never done it with pull-ups. I haven't done it with dips before. I had a little play around. There's some people I've seen the way they do them, I'm a bit like, that looks uncomfortable. So I think I found a way to make it work. So I'll show you how to do that today. So again, for any of you that don't have bands, I highly recommend getting them purely for, warming up. They're really good because the main benefit of resistance bands, and I'll sort of briefly talk about, I probably will do a video in the future on like the benefits of resistance bands. I think I already have, but maybe a bit more in depth. But what's nice about them is, let's say for instance, you want to do pull-ups or a deadlift or a squat or a push-up or a dip. What do all those exercises have in common? Okay, they are going against gravity. So when I'm pulling myself up, I'm pulling myself up against gravity. And that movement is going in one direction. Again, if I want to do an inverted row, I have to angle my body so I'm pulling up in a straight line. If I'm doing a deadlift, it's about pulling up in a straight line. Obviously, the more efficient deadlift is where you can try and move the bar path of a deadlift in as straight a line as possible. Same with a squat. When you've got it on your back, you want to try and move so you can try and keep it going in a straight line, because that's where we're going against gravity. The great things about resistance bands is it can go in any direction you want. So it's really good for hitting different muscles to, if you want to do some isolation, if you want to like make an exercise slightly harder in a different way. Like again, I can anchor it here, I can anchor it there, I can anchor it down there, and whatever direction I come from, yes, it still goes in a straight line, but I can pick whatever direction I want to pull from, to squat against, to push against. I can pick whatever direction I go. So that means, in some cases you can move how you want with your body, where obviously with certain movements, we have to move or manipulate our body so we can move in that plane, especially if you're doing like a squat for some people that have got bad mobility, or maybe they're not quite built good for like doing squats. Like if you're someone that's got really, really long femurs, how you squat is going to be different than someone who's got short femurs, who will look like when they're squatting, they're very, very upright. But you have to manipulate and move your body in a particular way to make sure that that bar path goes like that. Where if you're doing a squat with some bands maybe, you might be able to do it in whatever position feels more comfortable, as long as you're pulling in the way that you want. So honestly, they're a really, really good bit of kit. And considering the price, I mean, I got a 4-pack here from Gravity Fitness, and they're pretty good bands, a 4-pack, and it was like 35 quid. So, and like I said, if you want to take them away, fold them up, put them in a backpack. And like I say, for instance, if you want to go and do a workout somewhere, God, you can take these away to a hotel room, put them in a backpack, and literally you can find an anchor point. Some of them will come with like door anchor points. So you can shut the door and attach the bands to that. You can work your latch, you can work your rhomboids, so that sort of rowing, you can turn away, you can do pushing with the sort of some press up sort of style pressing. You can put them on your feet and do overhead press. You can put them across your back and you can do squats. You can stick them on the floor, pick them up and do deadlifts. So if you want to travel, get a set of different resistance band, different strengths, like you can hit everything that you want. So I didn't take my ring off last time. I wonder why my fingers were a little bit funny. So the first superset is going to be the pull-up and the dip. So again, we've done a little bit of trying to warm up the shoulder joint, get the rotator cuff working, get the movement in the scapula working. Again, bands are really good with that because again, you could do it with a set of dumbbells, but then you would have to like lie on the floor or change where you are, because again, you have to push those dumbbells against gravity, where again, I've just attached this to my air bike and I'm just pulling. The one thing I didn't do was actually just a little bit of chest stuff. So I'll do that in a sec. But yeah, doing some movement, getting the scapula working, getting the muscles working, again at a lighter resistance. Again, that band, I don't know if it's like 6 kilos or 16 kilos, something like that. I don't think it says it on there. It says Gravity Fitness. It was quite nice doing that. You might get a bit of rubble on your arm, but it's not too bad. Get some movement. Like I said, I'm really thinking of driving in. You feel your chest contract, pushing through, getting that scapular protraction. It's all like just getting that movement. Feels good and comfortable. Yeah, so we've been doing some movement with the resistance bands again. You guys want to skip ahead, no worries. Again, my warm-up pretty much is the same most days, except for the volume day where I don't need to warm my legs right now. I'll warm them up specifically when I do the leg section. Otherwise, I'll do my legs now and I won't use them for a little bit and then they'll just need warming up again. So our first exercises are the pull-up and the dip. However, on the dip today, we're going to be doing resistance band ones. What are you looking at? Which I'm quite looking forward to doing because they're something new. I'm not quite there with the pull-ups yet though, because when I did the pull-ups last time, I was kind of feeling like I was getting to sort of like 8 to 10 reps. So I've got a little bit more in me. And again, if I want to make them a little bit more challenging, I can add in some pauses if I want as well to really get the work in. With the dips, I really had to try and slow it down, add in pauses, and I kind of still felt like 10 to 12 was more than achievable. So I want to add in the bands there so I can, again, it's a way of making it a bit more difficult. I don't want to keep constantly going to the weighted vest all the time. It'd be quite nice to just like not have it on. Otherwise I'll be taking off and on between these two exercises. So I thought, got some bands, it's something new. It's a new stress, new stimulus. Let's give it a go. But I tell you what, still feel that from Monday session. So basically 2 days ago, 48 hours ago, can still feel that. So I think it's going to take my body a while getting used to the higher frequency. So I've talked about before the frequency that I have been doing for, I would say the last, and it was sort of playing around with it. Maybe the last 6 to 8 months has been 2 resistance sessions a week, 2 cardio sessions a week, maybe a third. But at one point I was doing like day on resistance, cardio, day off, resistance, cardio, day off, resistance, cardio, day off. And then sometimes it'd be like 3 resistance sessions 1 week, 3 cardio sessions 1 week, and it would just like alternate, 2 on, 1 off, 2 on, 1 off. And then sometimes I was finding I'll do the resistance session on Monday, cardio on the Tuesday. Depending on what I did, it might tax me a little bit more than just a nice gentle 5K or 10K is easy. When you do a really, really hard fast K, you do a really hard air bike, it hits you a little bit harder. So then sometimes the Wednesday would come in after recovery and I would still feel achy on the Thursday, to do a resistance session. So then I would do another cardio, then I would do my resistance on the Friday. So I had extra days off between, then I'd have the weekend off, potentially maybe go for a bit of cardio, see how I felt, or might bring it forward and maybe do a resistance on Sunday. It all depended on how I felt. So it ended up being like a Monday, Friday thing and having the full weekend off. And that seemed to be quite well, like balancing like how the sessions felt, because we've all got these programs, and you know, what I guess I'm trying to show you with this program is a lot of time you can make a generic program and they'll go like that, but there's always room for adaptation, and don't be afraid to adapt it. And sometimes you might have to adapt it. So for me, it's like, it's been a long time since I've done 3 resistance sessions in a week. I've done it in the past before. I can do it again, but it might take my body a little bit of time to get back used to it. You know, and it might then mean, okay, if I want to get those 3 sessions in a week, do I have to pull back the intensity? Do I have to pull back the volume to allow that recovery? And obviously, as you get older, you know, managing that's a bit more challenging, to your diet, to your sleep. All of these things are variables. So at the minute, I'm feeling a little bit achy, but because I'm doing a volume day and the goal and the direction of where I'm going with that, I've got a lot more flexibility in my training. Like if you're doing bodybuilding, your primary focus is I just want to build muscle, you've got a lot more wiggle room with it. And really it's kind of like, as long as I get the good amount of volume in, as long as I build up that fatigue in the muscle and I push it, you're probably going to lead to some hypertrophy if other variables, so again, sleep, nutrition, all that is there, and you're being progressive in a similar manner. You've got a lot more scope, where if you're focused on purely strength, you've got numbers you need to hit, percentages you need to hit, sort of rep sort of things you need to hit, and that's where you've got to go. Plus you have to manage your recovery a lot more, because you keep going to failure, it's going to hit you harder, central nervous system, sort of that fatigue. And if you're really tired systemically, that central nervous system feels burnt out because you've gone to failure, or you've been lifting too heavy, or you haven't had enough sleep. It really hits your strength. Where here it's like, if my strength's a little bit crap, I could literally like, I want to get 8 reps and suddenly I get 6. I can literally just shake off my arms, get an extra 30 seconds rest and jump back up, and then get that burn, go to failure and burn it out. But then I've got another exercise where I can go and hit it. And as long as I get in a good amount of volume and I go close to or hit failure, let's say, and I really feel that pump and I feel that thing, it's going to lead to something. So we have a lot more wiggle room and freedom here when it comes to our training. So I'm going to quickly show you that resistance band. So a few ones I saw where people were doing it, and I tried it and I was like, that don't feel good on the neck. But what they'll end up doing, because traditionally you'd go like this, okay? And obviously then you'd put your knees on here, and then that would help spring you up on the dip. The problem with the resistance bands is in some cases like this, and with the pull-up where you would hang it over, put your knees in, is it helps you the most when you least need it, and it helps you the least when you need it the most. But it's still something. But with this one, there were like people that were going like, wrapping like on their neck like that. Like, yeah, I have to now fight that resistance, but now I've got something craning on my neck and that don't feel good. But with this way, I was trying to find a way to get it to work. And it kind of works like you create a bit of a figure of 8. Depends where you can get it to sit on your back. And sometimes it will stay and sometimes it won't. I might try and do a double figure of 8 so it's a bit more to grip and then it's a bit shorter. So you need to kind of, I guess, get it a little bit higher up, where maybe you get one on your upper back like this. So it kind of looks like you've got a pair of, what do they call them? Suspenders sort of thing. So now it's like that. And now that's a lot more comfortable. And I'm fighting against that, but it's just a little bit of play and you'll get there, but you're kind of inside and now it's like this. So that you can feel it's quite a resistance, and this is only a thin one. Again, got some quite thick bands that we could go to, but it ends up being like I said, see those people that have got like this, where they got like the gun strapped on the inside of here. So I might just leave that on because now I know this actually seems to fit. We'll leave it like that. Looks cool too. So again, like last time, we were alternating different grips with the pull-ups to kind of just get like a mixture, different stimulus. And obviously if we progress them down in a way where we progress down with the idea of the pronator tends to be harder, then into the neutral grip, then into the chin up. So as we start to fatigue, that sort of strength is still there. So, but yeah, it feels pretty good. I quite like them. All right, let's get the workout thing up, find the right one. Pull up and dip, I think that one is. I've had to break them up into different workouts depending on how it goes. So yeah, so I'm looking forward to this workout. I think it's going to be a pretty good workout. You know, when like some days you just sort of like, you're looking forward to getting out of work and you kind of got like, you know, I guess you're excited, but you're kind of pumped to get ready to do a workout. And even though, like I said, I've got a little bit of a fatigue in my arms, like earlier on I was like moving stuff, like I felt like a bit of a cramp in my forearm. I was a bit like quite excited to get into the gym today and do a good workout. And I'm getting into trying to chill with the whole recording. Like I kind of want to record it and see how it goes and get a good workout done and then sort of show you guys what's going on. So chalk is already. So first superset, pull up straight into the dip. All right, target is between 8 and 12, we'll see how it goes. But there, chest to bar. Right. That's the problem when you put a number in your head. Sometimes you hit there and then you just start to fatigue. So sometimes it's not always good to put a number in your head. Right, let's see how these ones go. Wow, they're good, man. Yeah, they feel good. It's a bit different, but again, this is what's great about bands, is the resistance increases. So I think I tried talking about it in the previous video and I kind of got sidetracked by something else, but there was someone that was talking about, was it progressive intensity or something like that? It was something I used to see videos on Instagram, and it was an interesting idea of basically you get way more out of a set and more out of a rep if you play with a accommodating resistance, basically where the intensity changes throughout a rep, so you get more out of the actual rep. Therefore, you have to do less work because you're building up more fatigue or you're stressing your body more. So a prime example of it will be, I weigh, actually put on a bit of weight. I was 14.6, was it 14.7? So say I'm 91 kilos, right? If I hang from that bar and I pull up and I pull down, I'm 91 kilos the entire time, okay? However, in different portions of the rep, I'm stronger and I'm weaker. So I'm weaker in the concentric parts, basically where the muscle is under tension while shortening. It's basically where I'm pulling myself up to the bar. And I'm stronger in the position where the muscle's under tension while lengthening. So the lowering phase, the eccentric, the negative. You might get certain portions where the isometric bit, the bit where I remember it by going, isometric is metric, measurement, the measurement doesn't change. It's isolated. Where the pause at the top or the pause at the bottom, you can be, in some cases, stronger. So some people might, as a fatigue, will do concentric work, then they do eccentric work, then they add in pauses because it's a way of burning it out in those sort of cases where you're stronger. Where if, let's say, for instance, I use a resistance band, or let's say, for instance, I would pull myself up with a weight that was really, really, really challenging. And then as I was lowering down, someone would pull me down. And I'm actively trying to resist that pull down. The resistance is changing, and it's changing to places where I'm stronger and weaker within the rep. So again, like the great thing about a resistance band is the intensity increases the more stretched it is. And in some cases, like when I'm doing the dip there, I might be weaker in the bottom bit, but I'm stronger in the lockout, let's say. So as the resistance, as I'm pushing away, the resistance is easier down here, but as I push away, the band is getting stretched. It becomes harder and harder to go against it. So the strength curve of the resistance bands then, that might more likely match my strength, where again, this bit's easier, and then this bit is like, oh no, sorry, this bit's harder. And obviously as I push, I would normally find it easy, but as the band is stretching, the actual movement is becoming harder. So then I'm getting more work done. My muscles have to work harder through the entirety of the rep, as opposed to resistance staying the same throughout the entirety of the whole rep, even though I'm weaker and stronger in different portions. I think it's accommodating resistance, but it's a really interesting idea. Some of the ways in which I saw the person trying to bring it in is like really hard to do. Like you would need a second person. Like again, if you're doing a pull-up and having someone pull you on the way down, like that's not always gonna be practical for most people. But there were some ideas where it was quite cool, where it was like, you put on a load of weight and then as you go down and do the eccentric, let's say a squat, you would come up and then you would then find a way to, you'd maybe get assistance coming up. So something really, really heavy, and then you get assistance come all the way up. So you're fatiguing on the up bit, and then the heavier weight is harder on the eccentric. So there's kind of different resistance there. So it's an interesting idea. So if you haven't seen this in the previous video, these are the Kenzui version 2 Maxes. It's a nice little palm grip. It allows me to basically do my neutral grips. And I really like my neutral grips with the idea of I can now pull even higher up and I can get more mid-back activation. So this is the great benefit of doing chest to bar, is that you can get really, really good mid-back. It's not just sort of lat dominant and kind of vertical, it's kind of like a pull-up and a row in one. And it's really, really nice with the neutral grips. So, right, that's ready to go. Cool. So as you can see here, my hands are quite a bit lower than the bar, but now my chin is even going way above the bar now. Now I'm able to squeeze my chest in between my hands here and really pull up. I have no idea how many I've done, but we're just gonna chase failure. Squeeze at the top, squeeze them with back and down. Yeah, I have no idea how many I did there. Too busy talking. That's the Cornish in me. We have the really good ability to waffle on. It's really uncomfortable on the hand there though. Change that. That was hard. Yeah, I must have got it on twisted. It was stuck under my palm and it was jammed against that, and it's quite uncomfortable. But the second bit was a bit better. Yeah, exactly what I was saying before. I lost track of how many I did, but at the end of the day, it's not the reps I'm chasing, it's that feeling of fatigue, taking my muscles close or to failure, and just sort of keeping that intensity. There is a little bit of, with the rest times, it depends on what exercises you're doing, but I still think the performance is more important. So sometimes people will get you like doing bodybuilding sort of style, and it's one way of doing it. I'm not saying one's right, one's wrong. It's just a different way of doing it, but I have a preference. But there's nothing wrong with having a shorter rest period and banging out again, because the shorter rest period is going to build up that fatigue. That's what we're after when it comes to bodybuilding, so you can get more done in a shorter time. So I could rest a minute, go again, my workouts would be quicker, and then as long as I'm hitting that fatigue, hitting that failure, pushing a muscle, I'm going to elicit some growth. But with me, I'm also similar with my other workouts where I'd rather have the extra rest and then build up the fatigue by 1, going to a harder intensity, 2, doing more volume, and 3, spending time getting better with the form. If I'm hitting those same exercises with limited rest, do you think my technique and my form is going to be better in a more rested state or in a more fatigued state? So again, I'm very much performance orientated, but I'm always looking to see if I can improve my form and my technique, and that's going to be far easier to do in a more rested state. And as long as I still get the volume in, take my muscles to or close to failure, and really focus on squeezing and tensing those muscles, I'm going to be getting some growth. I want the growth, but I also want the improvement in the form. And this is why I've got a friend who kind of does like bodybuilding, and I have nothing against bodybuilding. I don't like the industry in the sense that it's built on a lot of lies, that most people have like a deluded idea of, and it's not their fault, but a deluded idea on what is an attainable body, what is a healthy body, what is a good looking body, and what's an achievable body. So my main issue with bodybuilding and that fitness industry is the majority of the people out there are taking something, they're only in that shape, and I'm not saying that they haven't worked hard, but they could work as hard as they possibly want. They'll never look the way that they look or be able to lift what they can lift. Yet they want us. Now, I fell for it when I was younger. I think we all probably thought, oh yeah, Michael train, yeah, he's solid, oh yeah, I'll train like him. Oh, if I eat duck eggs and I train and do the power bodybuilding, I can look like him. We've all fallen for it because we tend to take people at face value. But as you get older, you kind of realize what's actually going on. But the whole industry, supplement industry, is all built on, I think, a lie. And it kind of then, I think, increases the risk of people having body dysmorphia because they're forever comparing themselves to these men that are strong and in great shape and look good naked, whatever, or they think this is what women want men to look like. So I think they've done a disservice in that way. However, when it comes to like bodybuilding as a general, I've got nothing against it, but it's like, it's not my style of training, because when I'm thinking I'm doing exercises, and I'm picking exercises not just because I think they're good for building muscle, I think they're good for getting stronger, they're movements I'm going to be learning and putting time into learn the form and get efficient with the form, because I could possibly use that in everyday life. Like, I'll make jokes with my friend, like he'll do a side raise machine. And I'm thinking, never in my life am I going to be doing this movement. So yes, I might build slightly stronger, slightly bigger side raises. And again, other than the illusion of looking wider, I don't think it benefits you in any way. But I'm never going to do this movement, so I'm spending time and energy and effort working on a movement I'm never going to do, where you might get a bit of side development doing an overhead press. Again, handstand push-up you're not likely to do, but it's a calisthenics version of doing an overhead press. But it's going to give me stronger overhead pressing. So I might be able to pick something up and press it above my head. Whatever it is, I'm now building a movement that if I do repetition over repetition, repetition, I'm going to get more in tune and more efficient with the movement. And then that has carryover to either functional aspects of my life of being able to pick stuff up, or it's going to have carryover in any other pressing or shoulder exercise. Same with the pull-up. You could go on and use a machine where you're doing this rowing movement, but I'm not going to be doing that movement ever in my life. And I'm not working stabilizers. I'm not working all these other muscles that are going to be used, where if I need to pull myself up, I'm training how to do it in a functional way. Same with the push-up, where I think it's a lot better than the bench press. It's a movement I'm going to be doing, so the squat, the lunge. Again, I think even though the barbell back squat is probably going to be one of the best to build overall legs, we're very rarely in a situation where we're squatting with both our legs, especially as even as you are. We're more likely to be maybe squatting something with a slightly staggered position. If we're going up steps or climbing up, hiking or something, it's more unilateral, stepping up, lunging away. We're more likely to be in that movement, which is why I really like doing step ups or lunges, and why I'd always prioritize them to something like a leg extension or a leg curl, because not only using a movement, spending time trying to build muscle and strength, you're also learning a movement pattern. So pick exercises where the movement pattern is going to have carryover to either other exercises or at least everyday life, that also allows you to build muscle and get stronger. So that's why a lot of the exercises I pick, that's some of the reasons why I pick them, and why a lot of the bodybuilding movements or exercises don't interest me at all. Right, last set, best set, and I've been talking a little bit more. What are we going to go for? If you can guess, comment down in the comment section below. How many chin-ups do you reckon I'll get in this set? Let's go for it. If you guessed right, hit that like button. Right, last set of dips, just try and get these flat this time. Once the curl on my hand. Damn, that was hard. That was good though. That was 11. Sometimes I stupidly do it in my head. And again, I end up selling myself short in a way doing that. But I try and match what I get with my pull-ups. I try and match my dips. Hence why, it's weird, I'm doing like weighted, sort of similar weights. Yet when it comes to these sort of ones, I seem to be able to find the dips a lot easier for whatever reason. That's not going to be able to go there. Whew. Again, trying to find the room and stuff. Be good if I could get that in there. That ain't going to work. We'll go there. Just need a room to be able to pop up for the handstand. Right, overall, that was pretty good. I've got a pump. Got that fatigue. That's why it's nice with the last set, best set. Go as hard as you can on the last set, and like I said, on the chin-ups there, add in a little pause. Just to build that fatigue. I could really feel that in the biceps. The only thing is it can have a knock-on effect. Like, you might not be able to improve on all of your exercises as the sort of workout goes on. So if I push myself harder on the pull-ups and I end up pushing myself and I get more reps, or I add in an extra squeeze at the end, like obviously compared to last time I got more reps. I think I was getting like 8s last week, was it 10s this time? I've pushed myself harder, so I'm going to be going into my, what do you call it? Into my sort of compensation. I'm going over what my, say, potential was before, my capacity before. I've gone over that now. So hopefully that will trigger a response, a stress, and then I can compensate, get bigger, stronger. But I've overcompensated here. Maybe I've used extra energy of where I've grown from the week before. And then I've used that now, where that might have an impact on later exercises. That's fine. Again, you prioritize movements you want to get better at. I'm more focused on the pull-up and the dip. While I'm strongest, when I've got more energy, work on what I want to improve on the best. So what I might have to do is lower this, unless you can, I might only have to lower it a little bit. Let's see. Just so you can actually see me while I'm actually doing my set. See how bad it is. Might see if we can get like a nice side-on position. Here, it's the only issue with having this here is it forces you further away from the wall. And then when my legs come up, my back is going to be more bowed. It is what it is. It's the only wall that I've got in here. I mean, the rest of it, I might be able to do it against that potentially. But we'll set up here for now. It'll be fine. It's got to try and work it. It's not the worst thing. The only thing is, I'm gonna have to move this to the old trusty cap, because otherwise it's gonna go down over my face. Yeah, we've had a pretty good warm up. So like I said, for me, I'm probably just gonna go straight into the work sets and see how that goes. What did we get last time? I think it was 3 sets of 8 last time. Remember rightly, again, it'll be on my watch, but if you need it, write it down. And then even if you just go up by 1 rep, it's still an improvement. But we're going to failure, we're going to fatigue. And we also have to realize there's a cumulative fatigue, both neurologically, systemically, to the hypertrophy muscle sort of fatigue, the overall volume. Again, 2 days ago, not even that, depending on what time it is, we already did the workout. We've hit the dips, hit the pull-ups, and although the volume wasn't huge, it was only 20 reps, 4 sets of 5, did an extra set of chin-ups. So 5 sets on the pulling, the intensity was far higher. So we have to realize we only did that 2 days ago and we're recovering from that. So it's good to think bigger than just the current workout you're in, but accumulatively, and think of the bigger picture as well. So, well, I'll be able to see whether I need to warm up set on now, but I should be all right. The target is 8 or above. Let's see if I can go a little bit closer. Limit that arching back a little bit. Just realised, didn't put on my watch. So if it's not in here, it didn't happen. So that might cost me a rep, but so be it. Yeah, that was hard. You'll be surprised how just the pop-up and stabilizing yourself, like, I don't know if you ever guys ever, if you even do handstand push-ups, but it's so frustrating. And comment down below if this has happened to you, but you get set up for the pull-up, you do a couple reps, and for some reason, maybe you drove up a little bit differently, or your foot, like my foot was rubbing on the whiteboard a little bit. Like, it can push you away from the wall. And normally you'll be like cracking out the reps, no problem. And suddenly you get pulled off the wall, and you come back down, you have to pop yourself back up again. And it's surprising, like, how much it ruins your set. And how much strength it takes out of you to pop back up and stabilize yourself. That's hard. Have a quick drink. That's the nice thing about those parallettes, adjustable height. Right, you're gonna have to move, mate. I don't want to kick you. Come on. See, he answers me back. You guys got any cats? If you have, comment down below. What are their names? How old are they? Are they as cheeky as my bloody cat? That was a grind. That was hard. And that is a prime example of what I was saying earlier. You can improve on every single one, especially if you push yourself harder. I'm not saying I push myself too hard in those other exercises, but I have to realise adding those bands is gonna come down a little bit more. It's gonna fatigue me more,
my shoulders, my triceps, and that's gonna have a carry effect to a shoulder dominant exercise. Where now, we're still lifting the same body weight, but we're taking out a big prime mover. You know, might get a bit of upper chest, but that other movement, you've got the chest, shoulders and triceps all going. And now it's just like shoulders, traps, triceps too. It's, you know, like that. But still hit 8, so I'm happy with that. I can feel it, like feel fatigue. That last rep was a grinder. Probably going to be the problem now is that last rep was such a grinder, it's probably going to hit my next set. So probably only get maybe a 5 or a 6. That can be the problem if you go to failure in your earlier sets or every set, is it can burn a lot more out of you than you think. And there's again local stress to systemic stress or fatigue. So yeah, hopefully this time I actually spend this time actually recovering and not fiddling with this. And I think as well, I know I'm doing more today, so I wonder if there's like an element in your brain, in your subconscious, which is kind of like wanting to hold stuff in reserve because you know there's more to come. But if you know it's like, I've just got this, you give it your all because it's like, well, I've got nothing to hold back. When you think, I've got this, got that, right, I've got this superset, right now I've got this one and I've got this one. You probably don't realize you're doing it, but you're probably holding some in the tank in reserve because, you know, you still need to be able to get other stuff done. But the nice thing is, after this one, primary upper body is done. Like I said, I'm going to add in some arms at the end. I might even do a tricep, bicep, tricep, and try and work these little ladies' calves. At least try and get a pump in them. Try and get a little bit moving. But I felt like I got a little bit of growth or development in them when I was actually doing the box jumps. It's that explosive nature. Whether that was triggering something, I don't know. But they're just a notoriously hard area to work on, a difficult muscle to work on. But hey, we can't have everything, right? Like, I'm quite lucky with quite a lot of my body parts, like especially stuff like my forearms. You know, my forearms just grow really well. I can get a pretty strong grip, and I'm quite lucky I have that. There's some people that can't really grow their forearms, and considering I don't really do any direct arm work, I don't have big arms at all really, but considering I don't do any direct arm work, everyone likes to say I'm going to do some now. I haven't done any direct arm work. Don't even have done any this year. I don't have bad size arms from just doing your compound, so I'm quite lucky in that regard. So, you know, just got dealt shitty calves. It is what it is. Rather have small calves than a small cock, but there we go. All right, last set. Let's see how many we can get. This might even be, like I said, a proof to show how that systemic can build up and how you push yourself hard at the start, it impacts later on. See what I mean? Boom. So, it happens again. Go to failure, it hits you hard. And if you go harder, maybe even go to failure in other exercises that have a carryover, it happens. But what you're gonna do is make up for it. So I'm gonna do some pike push-ups. to make up for it. I hit that failure in the handstand, and then just think of that as a little drop set. Work around your workout and just get it done. So I can feel my shoulders. They feel heavy, they feel tired. So however I brought that about, I've done my job. You know, and this is why sometimes if you find that later exercises are suffering, that's why it's always good sometimes to switch up the order. You can always do that. And again, your mind can always hold something back in reserve because it knows it's got something coming later on. Yeah, my fatigue there, you feel it, but those chest to bars hit your mid back really nicely, and then the extra set, not extra set, but the extra reps, going to failure on the chin up, man, I could feel that with mid back. What was nice was just like, I'm up at the top, and even there at the bottom, I'm pulling, but I'm just thinking, consciously squeeze those shoulder blades together, cramp them up, and yeah, you can feel it. Got a pretty good pump. So it's very rare that I'll do a shirtless thumbnail. I think it can look a little bit cringe, you know. But you get a bit of a pump, and I said I wouldn't say I'm carrying a bit of extra body fat, but even with a bit of bloating, sticks out a little bit, not as much as my chest, but a quick suck in, tighten up. It's a little bit leaner, it's not too bad. I do have trimming up a little bit, but I like having the mass. I'm definitely bigger. I don't have a tape measure on that, but definitely bigger chest and back wise than what I was. And at that time I think I was a 45 inch along here, which isn't too bad, nothing crazy. So could be 46, 47 now, especially with a bit of a pump. My arms, I don't know, probably only 16 or 17, they're not that big, but like I said, from just doing a few movements, get a bit of a pump. I even have that when I do like my high intensity small volume. It's that squeeze and that tense. Like I say, I'm quite lucky with the forearms to get a pretty good thingy, but and the shoulders as well. Pretty lucky with the shoulders, but it's not bad. Like I said, I could do with trimming up here a little bit, getting rid of that. But you know, if I did a strict diet for a month, I could probably get rid of it. But like I said, I prefer that mass kind of look. I don't know about you guys. Comment down below, let me know what you think. But now, I've never been one for, I don't know if any of you can do it, but I can't do a proper lat spread. There are people out there that can do a proper lat spread. I've never been able to do it. It's a bit silly, I think. Like, you get some of these guys that have got, don't know, like, it's more like you see like the fitness ones where like they wear the board shorts, so they don't have to train their legs, and literally all they're focused on is side delts and arms. And then they basically just try and get the widest taper they get. But sometimes you'll see their waist is like this, and it looks quite feminine, the waist. A little bit of abs, and suddenly from here it just goes lump. And I thought bodybuilding was about, you know, creating symmetry and you know, things are in proportion. Don't get me wrong, like you get like the big bodybuilders, like they're not in proportion, but like they're just ridiculously big. But sometimes you'll look at them and like it's all ridiculously big. It's like a huge animal. You get like these fitness model ones where it's like the tiny little legs all over, really, really narrow, I'd say quite feminine waist. Yeah, they got a little bit of abs, and then suddenly they just go, bloop. And then they got no traps. And they just have these really wide shoulders and these arms, and they're like that the whole time. I don't think it's very good looking, and they're not in proportion. They just, again, they're only focusing on those sort of traits that, again, each their own. I mean, pick your poison, you know, whatever gets you moving, whatever gets you motivated, whatever gives you confidence, go for it. You know, I'm not hating on anybody or doing whatever, you know. Bodybuilding isn't my sort of style, it's not really my thing. Fair enough, but it helps a lot of people get moving. And again, this is the current problem we have nowadays, is that we have a huge problem of people overeating. And not just overeating, it's overeating bad food. Processed food is a huge problem, and being extremely sedentary. It's one of the, like, I think there's more and more stuff coming out. Then yeah, diet is really, really important, but just not moving is probably even a higher risk factor of just all-cause mortality. And you know, if going to the gym and doing some bodybuilding, an hour, a 5-day split, gets you moving and gets you working, gets you building muscle. Again, building muscle is a huge thing to do, because to sort of fighting stuff like diabetes, because the more muscle you've got, the more opportunity, the higher the quantity of sugar that your body can use, or at least store in the muscle as glycogen. So the more muscle we have, the better in that regard. And sometimes just being active and moving and being stronger can obviously a byproduct there as well. So even though I hate on it and I joke on it, it doesn't really bother me that much. It's just not my sort of cup of tea. So we're now moving into the leg section. So as I talked in the previous sort of volume day, the legs, when it comes to calisthenics, are hard to fatigue, because your legs are far stronger than what you think. Like, there's some people out there that are squatting 100, 150, 200 kilos. They're lifting their own body weight and extra. So if you're there just doing body weight squats, how are you going to fatigue them unless you do a ton of volume? No one really likes doing high volume squats. It's not good. So if we move to something like unilateral work, that can be a really good thing to do, to kind of get it in there and basically double the load on what you're lifting. So instead of you being 100 kilos and you're doing it over 2 legs, you're now doing it over 1. There's more resistance on that each leg. Perfect. But what I'm half tempted to do today is those squats, or Bulgarian split squats with the resistance bands. Not done them before. I've got these little pins on the side, so we're going to see how that goes. So the exercises are step up into Bulgarian split squat into a Nordic curl. Sounds simple, but it hurts and it's effective. And we're working compound movements. Like I said, if you've seen my strength workout, I do weighted step-ups. Step-ups are a brilliant exercise. You think here, big range of motion here. Most people don't even squat this deep. Where if obviously you try and learn this to do a split squat, a pistol squat, but this is a really deep range of motion. We're working on stability, we're working our balance. I recommend doing it barefoot or in a pair of hard flat shoes. Squat shoes would be fine. I could do with getting my squat shoes to help with my ankle mobility, but brilliant exercise. Nice long range of motion, gives you a really good opportunity to get some eccentric loading in as well. So I can feel that from Monday's session. I'm glad that my legs have recovered from that run. But it might also be because I stupidly forgot to do an actual leg warm-up. So this might not look the best. I forgot to do my leg warm-up. Right, I don't know how this is going to work, if I'm honest. Right, might have to swap the pins. What am I going through first? So, wrap this through here if I remember rightly. I think it goes like that. Might make me a bit one-sided. Maybe I've got that grey one. I don't know if that grey one is a similar thickness. I may end up just doing superset like these, banded and unbanded, so I get a bit of go under. Now, these have got to be a similar thickness, they're similar length. Why not? Oh, experiment. See how this goes. Whew. Not hard enough. Maybe I'll go around again. Ooh, yeah, we'll try that. Ooh, yeah. That's the other thing as well, which is different, is unlike a weight, even though you've got gravity acting on it, this one, it feels different because you've got something like actively trying to pull you down, and then obviously as it's increasing, it really feels like it's trying to pull you back. So when it comes to like eccentrically trying to slow yourself down, it feels like you have to work harder. That's a bit of a burn. That'll make it harder. A bit more stretch that way. That was hard and long. Apologise for that. Whoa. 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 So those I was capping at 5 because you're pre-fatigued and it's a hard movement. You need to top up. Hard, but not hard enough. We'll try up and up to the black bands. So I worry if I went to the bigger one, is it gonna pull you over more, and then at least if you get it evenly on each side, it's not gonna mess you up as much, I don't know. But luckily, I had some old bands. Obviously I bought some new ones because I thought I didn't have the full set. Some of them I gave to my brother actually. Let's see how we can make this. Yeah, that's gonna be difficult. Whew. Oh yeah, I forgot. That was the thing I forgot to tell you. My bad. Is on the leg workout, we got less rest time. So again, that's another way of making these workouts more challenging, is we can play around with the rest time, and that can make it more intense and can be a really good way of sort of building up that fatigue in the muscle, because that's a game, as I've said numerous times in this video, and sorry if I come across repetitive, we're trying to build up fatigue in the muscle. So a shorter rest period can really help that to happen. Oh, we won't count that one. Not much to say then, just trying to focus on the form, just trying to get better, trying to focus on what muscles I'm using, trying to focus on where I'm pushing with my foot, what I'm doing with my knee. So I don't know if that's 7 or is that 8. Well, I'd rather go 7 than get an extra rep in. Now that one is 8. See how I thought at the time. Yeah, have a bigger resistance band. And I've stupidly put these on so they're not on the same sides. Idiot. Add resistance bands. That'll be a good idea. Idiot. That's hard. You can see it's trying to pull me back, and then you have to work your muscles harder to resist that. That was hard. I feel that in my back. Just having to like use your core, try and stabilise, because you've got something really pulling on you. Wow. Oh, that's hard. That's no joke, man. If you want to check this out, I've got a review on my channel, you know, or I could link it down below if you want, but check my channel. You've got a review on it. Damn. Seriously hot in here. I know some of you be thinking, what do you expect, man? You're wearing trousers, why are you not wearing shorts? Well, if you watched my previous video, it's because I got shitty calves. So we've all got something that we're self-conscious of. Mine tends to be my calves. I rarely ever wear shorts. I think the other thing as well, because they're like lily white, it looks even worse as well. But this is the problem though, where like I said, if I could have upside down shorts, like I said, I can get these pretty big. This, doesn't matter what I do. I spent years doing calf training, going really hard. Just couldn't get them big, and obviously you can't change the size of, you know, your shin area to your Achilles area. So, yeah. But here's what it is. Suck it up, I guess. Right, last set. Really not looking forward to them. Part of me wants to get them over with first, and then drop into a superset without them. Don't know why I'm thinking about doing that. I think I will. Don't be afraid to mix things up. Right, that's come loose there. Okay, now. I get my foot in place. I have to make it harder, push forward like that. Make it a bit tighter when I come up to the top. Tell you what, Bulgarian split squat, really underrated. Such a good movement, you guys. You feel it in your whole leg. And then, unlike say the step up where you might be more limited by ankle mobility or balance, yeah, your rear foot's supported. It adds a little bit of balance, and you're kind of going backward as opposed to relying on going forward. And you can really build that fatigue up and not have it limited by balance, stability, mobility. Oh, wow, that's hard. You know what? Feeling this, I might drop the step up body weight and have this in, man. My legs are fried. Oh, Jesus. Wow. Do one more for a bit of progression. Oh. Man, that was hard. It's a nice switch up there though. I feel sick. This is probably why I didn't do arms and lower back and whatnot after. Hopefully that's not too loud, or the wind on the mic. Apologise if it is. Man, that was hard. That, with the bands. Again, something simple, effective exercise, chuck some bands on. I mean, you may not have a base bench like this, but you might be able to weigh it down with something. Oh. Yeah, I really like them. I was half tempted though, with the weighted step up. I know like this session was worse than the session before. And I was thinking, oh, I could just put my squat shoes on, but the mobility and the tightness in my calves made the, would have been day 4 strength not what I would have liked. I got annoyed that my balance, stability, it felt like it was hindering. I was still able to feel it in my muscles, still do the weight, but not that I'm a perfectionist in any way, like I'm obviously trying to get better, but I kind of just felt like, unless I spend time before I work out, obviously not showing it in the video, but doing some more ankle mobility before, which I tell you what, I haven't got the patience or the time for. As lazy as that sounds, like sometimes you just want to get in, do your workout, get what you want and then get out. I don't want to have to do that every single time. Part of me is tempted now after feeling that, doing those Bulgarian split squats with the weight. I know like the step up, you're lifting all of your weight on the one leg, and this one, you know, your back leg is on the pad, so it will be taking some of the weight off. But if I could make up for that weight discrepancy by, I don't know, I could have a resistance band on me if I want, or go a little bit deeper, add in a pause, slow the rep down. Could I get more strength? Could I get more growth? Very tempted. This is why I always see those, when you see these bodybuilders, man, doing a horrible high rep leg day. I've done 10 sets of 10 on back squats before. Got myself up to a point where it was like, put 100 kilo on the bar, 10 sets of 10, a minute rest. Done it on my own once, and another time I did it with a mate who was doing it too, and it was literally like, it probably worked out to be a minute, under a minute at the first couple sets to probably later on, but you do a set of 10, as soon as you finish, my set of 10. and then you go like that. Like I said, as you get more fatigue, your sets take longer, you get more rest. That is horrible. Like, is there something about doing high rep legs and just building up that thing in the legs just makes you feel like shit. Like right now I feel like I want to be sick. And obviously it's compounded by the fact that it's, I wouldn't be surprised if it's like 22, 23 in here. Like I said, it's like a greenhouse. Probably should have had this fan on, but I'm really conscious, obviously. I've just realised now, you're probably looking at me through this fan. Probably isn't the best viewing experience, but at least you can still hear me, I'm hoping, and the wind isn't blowing on it too bad. But yeah, it's, let me move that a little bit. I'm sure you'd rather see me chat and crap than a fan. Yeah, roll on the winter. I'm always better with the cold than I am the heat, because I'm very much like, it's not too hard to warm up. You do like it on the air bike, put some layers on, you can warm up, but it's so much harder to cool down. Right, I really don't want to do this, but we've got core work. So, I'm not one for normally doing a lot of core work. Again, you'll hear me holding my breath, which is why when I finish my set, I'm like, because I've been holding my breath in between reps. It's just something I've learned to do from when I used to do powerlifting and strength training. It's just something I just learned how to do, that intra-abdominal pressure, hold it. So that's like my core work. But core work I'm going to be doing today, and the only core work I probably really do or would do are going to be hyper extensions. Again, getting some direct lower back work, always good, and then it allows you to get some glutes work in there and also your hamstrings, so you get to work that as a proper complex, which is really good. And it's a nice calisthenics exercise. Again, if you don't have kettlebells, kettlebell swings are really good for that, and leg raises or knee raises. It depends on what you want. Most of the time I prefer doing my leg raises on the floor. I feel like it gives less room for using momentum. It's far easier to control it. And I normally find by the time I get later in my sessions, I've got like fatigue in my back and my arms. So then sometimes my strength might then become a factor. Or if I'm just like tight here, sometimes getting into that position can be a bit of an impact. I do have them, I don't know where they are. I'll get them out for next session. I don't want to like waste time grabbing them now, but, or can I? I can always edit it out, can't I? We'll do that. Bear with me. Super smooth edit back in. I've got these. So I'll end up using these. So these are really cool. These are from Pull Up and Dip. Haven't used these for a long time, but they're brilliant for doing leg raises, because strap these to a bar, put your arms inside, and then you can focus on doing your knee raises. And actually, the reason why they're actually better, and you'll get more back activation, is you can kind of like do what you would do in a pullover, and then you can actually tilt your hips up a lot higher. So I'm glad I remembered those. So for any of you that are still watching now, thank you very much. You've proven that you have an ability to have an attention span, which has been lost on a lot of people. And don't get me wrong, you know, I watch a little bit of YouTube Shorts or a little bit of TikTok, more for like watching like political stuff. Like over the last couple of years, I've got more into politics, and you know, what's happening now in our country, what's happening in America, and what's happening worldwide. I normally watch stuff like that on there. So sometimes it's quite cool to get like little snippets of like information here and there. But you know, I enjoy watching a podcast if I'm, you know, watching some things on like fitness and that. You know, I prefer a longer form video, because there's only so much information you can get in a 30-second short, you know, or, you know, you might be able to get a longer TikTok, but like, I've got a nice phone. I quite prefer watching stuff in that way. Chill out while I'm watching, eating food, whatever. Sitting down chilling. I'd rather watch something that's got more information, that's more chilled out and laid back. I'm just going to check the angle, see if you'll see it. Yeah, that should be fine. So these, like I said, will strap on here, hook on like that. And they're not even like that expensive, so they're quite cool, but really good, like I think an effective way of getting in your core training. And there's like not really much that can go wrong with it. Might have to move this forward a little bit. Right, don't know if I've actually put core work into my workout setting. No, I didn't, that's fine. We'll just crack on. So, like I said, I have to come away a little bit from here too. You end up like leaning back quite a bit. So yeah, put your arms in here. And then your grip is not a factor anymore. And then you kind of pull in and your legs come up here. But then what you do is you can kind of pull back a little bit. And then you can use your back muscles to kind of like crunch from the top and then pull your legs in. I can feel that. Wow. Wow. And like I said, these are brilliant for getting that lower back work, working your glutes. Yeah, pretty good, pretty effective, does the job. I might do actually. Put it this way. I know I talked about these videos being shorter, but this one's gone on a little bit longer. Never mind. You can always pause it, come back in a later day, finish it off. There's no pressure. Like any of you that are watching it and taking the time to watch it, engage, like, comment. You know, I appreciate all of you. I know our time is finite. And there's only so many places that we can direct our attention and our time. So for any of you that are, and are still here with me now, you know, I really appreciate it. And I hope, like I said, hopefully these videos you gain something out of. Let's crack straight back on. Wow. So I don't do leg raises outside. Weak and weak. But you identify a weakness and then you can work on it. Hey, Miles. Ow, he's loud. He's annoyed at me because the hyperextension is normally under the mirror, under the window. I've shut the window and that's on under there, so he's not happy. I've ruined his rotation. He likes to rotate, and if you shut off anywhere, close a door, do anything that he doesn't like, he does it. Yeah, talking about you. Right, again, these are isolation. You don't need as much rest because they're simple isolating movements that shouldn't create too much systemic fatigue. And again, we're just trying to burn the muscles out. Oh man, hard. This isn't a nice movement to do when you feel sick. Boom. So, let me put this back here.